Hello, real quick before we get into this, most of my GBL stuff has been on Twitch, link below of course, and more GBL stuff is coming to YouTube, I promise, as soon as I manage to edit things. But real quick, we're going to be taking a look today at the Silph Cup for the month of June. It's going to be the Sorcerous Cup, and in it will be Ice, Poison, Fairy, Psychic, and Normal types all incorporated, and you cannot use Dugong, you cannot use a Lowland Raichu, and you cannot use any Pokemon whose charge move costs more than 75,000 dust to unlock, and no shadows also. And of course, this will all be remote. Thank you, Disease. You may battle other people from the comfort of your own home, coordinated through Discord. So if you haven't really delved into the realm of Silph Arena tournaments, I highly recommend giving it a shot. It's super fun. I'm only just getting back into it myself, and you know, it's a thing to do. It's a thing to do. So we're going to have some practice battles going on the side. I might talk about them, I might not. Depends how much else I have to say. Going to be taking a look at the PV Poke rankings. I'll give you my recommendations, which Pokemon can be, you know, ignored. But you can use them if you want. But I'll give you what I think are essential. And I'll take a look at some Game Press graphics. It's going to be a fun time. We're going to learn a lot today. Okay, let's go. So number one, we have a Alolan Muk. It seems like Alolan Muk's going to be a pretty good generalist. Now, his top counters are Granbull, which is interesting. It has a battle rating of 879, but Charm is neutral. And if this thing is running Poison Jab, that completely flips the matchup. And you see, Snarl is recommended 50% of the time, Poison Jab, the other 50, essentially. Don't use Bite, don't do that, but I don't know. So depending on what you want on your team, you can choose either Snarl or Poison Jab. Snarl is going to charge up your charge moves faster. Poison Jab is going to do more damage. If you're running Acid Spray, I kind of recommend Poison Jab, to be quite honest with you, and then Dark Pulse, because Poison Jab just chunks away way more. But I don't know, it's really up to you. It's really looking like it's a pretty safe lead. I don't know how it stacks up on the leads, but it doesn't seem to be hard countered by anything. Okay, it's number 8. Interesting, because its charge moves take kind of a while to get to if you're running Poison Jab. But yeah, Alolan Muk is really a safe pick overall. Key matchups, it says Bronzong, really only if you're running Snarl. I'm sure it's still fine if you're running Poison Jab. Dark Pulse hits, but that Poison Jab's going to be super resisted. Frostlass, way better to run Snarl. Noctowl, either way. Hypno, Snarl is better for Hypno, yeah. And then Skuntank, interesting how Alolan Muk beats Skuntank like that. Good to know. So if you only want one dark poison type, maybe go Alolan Muk. It's ranked higher than Skuntank, and yeah, that's what I gotta say about him. Now, real quick, take a look at this. Snarl, right, versus Granbull. Let's see. Alolan Muk completely destroyed. Change it to Poison Jab. Granbull completely destroyed. So that's just one entire matchup that's completely flipped. I called that, I knew it. So it's your call. If you're weak to Granbull on the rest of your team, maybe look into Poison Jab. If not, go Snarl. I don't know, figure it out. So with Alolan Muk being so dominant, you want to have a counter. You do. Toxicroak gets the job done. Toxicroak's going to be super good, very weak to confusion users, and there are a lot, so watch out. Sneasel, Granbull, Swallow, they're not rated very high. I don't think you'll see very many. Alakazam, Toxicroak, look into that one. Look into that boy. Now, up next, we see Noctowl. Normal type, so it's going to resist any ghost that wants to try to mess with it. Key matchups against, okay, it's a close one with Skuntank. It takes it on. Hypno, it's close also. If you're running maybe Nightshade, you do better against Hypno. I'm not sure if you just want to go straight Sky Attack. Actually, let's take a look at that. So we're going to type in Noctowl. First, we're going to try it with Psychic versus Hypno. Okay, Confusion, Shadow Ball, Thunder Punch. That seems fine. It's going to have super effective Thunder Punch. And let's see. Okay, so Noctowl only wins in the one shield and barely. So it's really not a Hypno counter. It really isn't. Now let's see if Nightshade will make this any better. Nightshade, oops, not Psychic, sorry. Sky Attack. Battle. And it's about the same. So you're going to want to go straight Sky Attack either way. Nightshade, don't run Nightshade on your Noctowl. Run Psychic instead, because even when it's super effective, won't do anything. So Noctowl's going to be good against the fighters, even though it is taking neutral damage from counters. It's still dealing back super effective. Hypno, I'm not sure why it says a key matchup. It's really not. Get your stuff together, I guess. But I don't know. It's going to be neutral. Another really neutral, well-rounded Pokemon, but super countered by Frostlass. Super, super, super countered. That's going to be a big one. Glalie, Piloswine, Weavile, Cloyster, they're not, I don't imagine seeing as many of those as I do Frostlass. So I feel like people are going to run that. So watch out for that. But really another just overall kind of pretty tanky, pretty neutral, good Pokemon to have if you want to play it safe. Up next, Toxicroak. Now, Toxicroak gets absolutely deleted by Confusion users. They are double super effective. If you want a safer pick, maybe go Medicham. But Toxicroak has way better matchups against Skuntank and Alolan Muck, which are going to be big players. Munchlax, of course, all the normal types. Raticate. I don't imagine there will be many Raticates. That's not something I think will happen. Probably a few Lowland Sandslashes, and that thing, it deletes it. So it's gonna, Medicham will be able to handle Munchlax. Well, no, because Lick is gonna be neutral to Medicham. So there's that. But really, it's gonna be about the same. Toxicroak hits harder, but it's glassier. There you go. Top counters, Hypno. Big player. These are all just random things that do a lot of damage, but you're not going to be seeing many Swoobats or Dustox or Slowpoke or Gothitels. So really watch out for Hypno. Watch out for Bronzong if you're using Toxicroak. Yeah, you're going to be doing neutral damage because Bronzong is Steel type, but nope, it doesn't work. You're so weak to Confusion. So be careful. It's saying Mud Bomb Dynamic Punch. Interesting. So we haven't really seen a lot. I've been running Sludge Bomb on mine, but I'm going to change that up real quick. Yeah, so it's looking like Dynamic Punch is the way to go. Poison's not really super effective. Yes, to Charmers. Actually, no. You know what? For Fairy type coverage, I think you should go Sludge Bomb. I'm not going to lie. You got your counter damage. You got your fighting. I don't know. I would recommend Sludge Bomb, to be quite honest with you. Up next, we see Munchlax. Probably a good, safe lead. Let's see how it ranks on the leads. Oh, it's like nowhere. It's 12. Okay. But Body Slam spam is real. And Lick chunks. It certainly chunks. Top counters, a lot of normal types because Lick is going to be resisted, of course. Toxicroak because counter is going to kill this thing. But really, okay, good against Skuntank, good against the Alolan Muck. Is that straight body? Yeah, I'm pretty sure you want to go straight Body Slam and only go Bulldoze if there are like 2 degrees of resistance between Bulldoze and Body Slam. For example, against a Steel type. Yeah. So, it's looking okay. Another generalist. Toxicroak is not a generalist. Toxicroak has its niche and you use it to kill things and it will get killed. But it's looking like Alolan Muck, Noctowl, and Munchlax are pretty safe across the board. You want to run Lick, not Tackle, and then Body Slam and Bulldoze. Gunk Shot's a thing. I've actually never tried it, but I think Bulldoze is the way to go. And yeah. Now it's looking like Skuntank is a worse Alolan Muck, but I'm not sure about that. Counters Azumarill. Of course, Alolan Muck, if you run Poison Jab, it does that too. With Crunch, counters Hypno. Crunch does more damage than Snarl does and charges up a little slower. Or it's like spammier, I don't know. But overall, it chunks more. Now, Wigglytuff is a Charmer, and Skuntank apparently counters it. Okay, good to know. And then Medicham. All right, I guess. So yeah, that's the difference between Toxicroak and Medicham. Toxicroak beats the Poison Dark types, and Medicham doesn't really. Abomasnow, you're not going to see many Abomasnows. I don't think. I really do not think. I don't think you're going to see a lot of Grass types at all. Grass Poisons. Or Abomasnow's Grass Ice. Interesting. But yeah, Grass types don't have a huge niche. There's not a lot of Water types, except for Azumarill. But for that, probably people are going to be countering it with Poison. And also, of course, Tentacruel. Tentacruel counters Azumarill. We'll get there. So, if you want to use Skuntank, go for it. It's the same as Alolan Muck. Would I recommend running both? I don't know. I battled Aerosol. You'll see that a little later on in this video. He had both on his team, both Skuntank and Alolan Muck. And if you want to use them both on the same team at once, I honestly think that could be a strat. Because switch in one, your counter for that's going to come in. And if you lose the lead, of course, and then you just have another one. So maybe have different types of moves on them. Like one can have a dark fast move, one can have a poison fast move, and I think that's a strat. It's definitely a sound strat. I'm going to look into that. But yeah, there you go. There you have it. Skuntank. Now it's looking like Skuntank is a worse Alolan Muck, but I'm not sure about that. Counters Azumarill. Of course, Alolan Muck, if you run Poison Jab, it does that too. With Crunch, counters Hypno. Crunch does more damage than Snarl does and charges up a little slower. Or it's like spammier, I don't know. But overall, it chunks more. Now, Wigglytuff is a Charmer, and Skuntank apparently counters it. Okay, good to know. And then Medicham. All right, I guess. So yeah, that's the difference between Toxicroak and Medicham. Toxicroak beats the Poison Dark types, and Medicham doesn't really. Abomasnow, you're not going to see many Abomasnows. I don't think. I really do not think. I don't think you're going to see a lot of grass types at all. Grass poisons. Or Abomasnow's grass ice. Interesting. But yeah, grass types don't have a huge niche. There's not a lot of water types, except for Azumarill. But for that, probably people are going to be countering it with poison. And also, of course, Tentacruel. Tentacruel counters Azumarill. We'll get there. So if you want to use Skuntank, go for it. It's the same as Alolan Muck. Would I recommend running both? I don't know. I battled Aerosol. You'll see that a little later on in this video. He had both on his team, both Skuntank and Alolan Muck. And if you want to use them both on the same team at once, I honestly think that could be a strat, because switch in one, your counter for that's going to come in. And if you lose the lead, of course, and then you just have another one. So maybe have different types of moves on them. Like one can have a dark fast move, one can have a poison fast move, and I think that's a strat. It's definitely a sound strat. I'm going to look into that. But yeah, there you go. There you have it. Skuntank. Frostlass. Super, super glassy, but hits like a truck. Okay, good against Skuntank. Good to know. Toxicroak, yeah, because counter's going to be resisted. Hypno, Shadow Ball is going to hit hard. Bronzong is really interesting. Key matchup against Bronzong. So it's going to be hitting you it's going to chunk. It's going to severely chunk you with Confusion, even though it's neutral. Frostlass is super glassy, and it does carry Heavy Slam, so be careful. You're going to have to shield if you go up against a Bronzong, but with Powder Snow, you're going to be able to spam Shadow Balls a little faster. Now, interesting how it's recommending Crunch instead of Shadow Ball. I honestly would say go Shadow Ball. Definitely Avalanche, it charges up faster, but Shadow Ball has better DPE. I'd recommend Shadow Ball, to be quite honest with you. And then Powder Snow, not Hex. Charge up your moves, do it fast. Top counters are going to be really anything with dark type moves. You're not really going to see any of these, so I'm going to look at everything right now. Let's see what its actually prevalent counters are. Okay, Grand Bull. If anything with Charm is going to chunk. Anything with... Okay, that's interesting. Poison Jab and Crunch the Viper. That's really interesting, actually. I wouldn't have expected that, but yeah. Haunter's going to chunk, especially because its Shadow Claw does more damage than Powder Snow, and they're both super glassy cannons. You want a quick move that does damage in that scenario. Snubble. Freaking Snubble. Oh my god, that's weird. Anyway, in other news, Azumarill. It's going to be I think in this cup you want to run Ice Beam and Play Rough on Azumarill. It's going to get to charge moves and it's going to do stuff, and Azumarill's just tankier, so I can see why. Interesting. Munchlax, definitely Lick is going to severely chunk. And then really anything with a powerful fast move or acid spray, yeah, it's glassy. Dark type moves, definitely scary, but Frostlass holds its own. It gets to moves really fast and can almost one-shot a lot of things. So it's a pick. It's a strong pick. Up at number 7, we got my favorite boy, Azumarill. All right. There aren't a lot of... I don't know. So it's looking like Play Rough Ice Beam is recommended right here. I'd have to look into that, but I'd say I believe it. Play Rough's going to do super effective against dark types, which is great. Ice Beam is just faster. A point could be made for Play Rough Hydro Pump, maybe to hit Bronzongs and Steel types and stuff. Really, that's the only Steel type, honestly. Is it? I think so. So, I don't know. Maybe Ice Beam's not super necessary because there aren't going to be a lot of grass types. Yeah, look at these grass types. I don't think anyone's going to use them. I'm not going to lie. I don't think grass types are going to have a huge place in the meta. If you want a grass type move, I feel like people are probably going to use Linoon with Grass Knot or Lickitung with Body Slam. That's my prediction. So, we'll see how that works. But yeah, key matchups against, it's a very close matchup against Toxicroak because Sludge Bomb is going to hurt. But if your Toxicroak is running Dynamic Punch, it can't really touch Azumarill. So I'd say you want to run Sludge Bomb on your Toxicroak. My personal humble opinion. A Lowland Muck, if it has Poison Jab, that's not a win anymore. So Azumarill's another generalist. Does kind of okay against anything. Bronzong, you want Hydro Pump for it, I assume. So that's interesting. Honestly, Azumarill's ranked pretty high, but I'm not thinking it's very dominant in this cup. It's another very safe, neutral type of deal if you're looking for something like that. And yeah. Now, Licky and Lickitung with Body Slam. They're ranked the exact same somehow. Let's see if they have the same matchups. I literally have one Lickitung with Body Slam. I transferred all of them and I forgot to evolve stuff, and I wasn't really like into the game at the time, so I was just stupid and I didn't think about how they might be good for PvP. Oh well, that sucks. Okay, key matchup against Skuntank, which is interesting because isn't Lick resisted by Dark, so that's fun. But Licky with that Earthquake, that's a thing. It's going to take a while to charge up. It's going to take a very long time. So that really depends on you landing Earthquake, Skuntank, Muck. Now, Earthquake is better than Bulldoze, of course, but it takes a little longer to charge up. So even when it's only 1 degree of more super effectiveness, it's probably worth it to go Earthquake, especially if shields are down, but you're going to want to land some bait shenanigans to pull off the Licky gameplay, I'm thinking. Hypno, yeah, you're licking it. It's going to be super effective. Frostlass, of course. Bronzong, yep, you're licking it. You are licking it. I think Earthquake takes longer to charge up than Shadow Ball. Don't quote me on that. So that's the difference, right? Okay, so it does carry Shadow Ball. This thing does. Yeah, so it's saying go Earthquake. Definitely don't go Hyper Beam. It's between Earthquake and Shadow Ball. It's really up to you what you want more coverage against. Earthquake and Shadow Ball are both going to be super effective against Bronzong, but Shadow Ball is going to be super effective against Frostlass and stuff, and also Hypno. So I'm kind of thinking Shadow Ball, even though you already have your Ghost type damage with Lick. Of course, Earthquake for the poison types. How could I forget? So it's really up to you. Think about what you want coverage on your team for. Top counters, Toxicroak, really anything with counter. Haha, funny. They're both called counter. And Furret, I wonder if we're going to see a lot of Furrets. I don't think so, to be honest. But Brick Break, it's spammy and it's something. But I feel like Linoon is going to be the superior normal type, not counting Munchlax, of course. And of course, Licky and Lickitung are also normal types. So really, another generalist. This cup is looking like not as rock, paper, scissors as past ones, to be honest with you. Now let's take a look at Lickitung. Lickitung does have Power Whip for those Azumarills, which is fun and good. Top counter is about the same. It's looking like it also tends to counter Skuntank and Alolan Muck somehow, which is interesting, I guess. I don't know. I guess so. I believe it, maybe. And then we got Azumarill. I'm going to actually take a look at the Lickitung versus, Alolan Muck and Skuntank right now. Okay, we're here. Let's press battle. Okay, so Lickitung loses in the 0 and the 2, but wins in the 1. Interesting. Now let's see if this thing is running Snarl and, what does it want? Sludge Wave or Gunk Shot? I'm not sure. I'm going to go Sludge Wave. And it's about the same. All right, so it's not a hard counter by any means. There are scenarios in which it can win. Taking a look at Licky, let's see. Okay, so Licky does win across the board, but this is all in a perfect baiting scenario, and you're not always going to get that. So let's see straight Earthquake, what happens. Battle. Okay, you can't go straight Earthquake. So to win in the 1 and 2, you have to land baits, for sure. And now let's see straight Body Slam, if that wants to work out or not. Okay, you win in the 1. It's about the same as Lickitung, I mean. And now if you have, having Shadow Ball is the same as straight Body Slam. You're going to want to go Body Slam. Yeah, it's the same. So these two, they're there. If you want another generalist, close matchups with pretty much a lot of things. Lickitung. There you go. I'm probably not going to use any because I don't have one. But Munchlax, I feel like, is the better Body Slammer. Body Slammer. Sorry to say it, but go for it. I like the yellow shiny, so go for it if you want to. Hypno. Hypno is interesting. What is it recommending for the moves? Psyshock, if you have that legacy, and then Fire Punch and Ice Punch. Interesting, interesting. So there's no reason to run Thunder and Ice Punch. You're really only going to use those against flyers like Golbat and Noctowl. And so you only need one. There's nothing that's like quad weak to any of them, but I'd recommend Thunder Punch, to be quite honest with you, for Azumarill. I can't imagine what you would need Ice Punch for. And since there are ice types flying around, Thunder Punch is going to be neutral. Now, for the other move, it's going to be between Fire Punch for ice types and Bronzong, of course, and Shadow Ball if you want a harder hitting move. So yeah, I'd say Thunder Punch is a must, even though for some reason it's ranked lower, and then Fire or Shadow Ball. That's my recommendation. Let's see how it does against things. So yeah, of course, countered by all the Poison Dark types and all the Dark types in general, and then Frostlass because it's going to be able to spam Shadow Balls faster. But then again, let's see what happens when Hypno runs Shadow Ball. Okay, let's see. Hypno, Confusion. Okay, Shadow Ball, Thunder Punch versus Frostlass with Powder Snow, Avalanche, and Shadow Ball. Now, Hypno chunks away with Confusions and is able to win in the 0, but not the 1 or the 2. Got it, got it. Even with perfect baits, it can't win in the 1. Interesting, interesting. Okay, but this one, yes, for sure. If you want to double shield your Hypno, you can take this thing out. Even, what if you don't have... What if you go straight Shadow Ball? Let's see. Hey, go away. None. None. Now let's battle. All right. Nope. It's not. It doesn't look good. So you got to land your baits. And overall, it's looking like, yes, Frostlass is in fact a Hypno counter. Okay. That's really all I got to say. Yep. You're going to chunk away at Toxicroak for sure. And Medicham, that's a pretty dominant matchup as well. Yeah, let's see who does better against Medicham. Bronzong or Hypno? Medicham. Oh, okay. Medicham is not even in the key matchups for Bronzong. So it is looking like Hypno is a little more dominant against Medicham. Now, Bronzong still just as well, especially against poison types, because Steel resists, double resists, right? Poison. So that's big. That's very big. And then top counters is Frostlass. Of course, even though Ice is... So even if you go unshielded and it's just an Avalanche, it's going to do a solid chunk because Frostlass hits super hard, but at least Ice is going to be resisted, so Bronzong has that going for it. But it's about the same. Pick your favorite. Pick your favorite Confusion user. Now, this thing has Heavy Slam. I would recommend Psyshock Heavy Slam instead of Bulldoze. Yeah, you're going to be able to hit the poison type super effective with Bulldoze, but it's just overall a worse move. No stab. You know, go Heavy Slam, I guess. Now, Tentacruel is actually rated #1 for leads, which is interesting. So, Poison Jab, Acid Spray. Chunk away all day. And then, of course, Hydro Pump, you're not going to want Blizzard. Sludge Wave, you got enough poison going on. I wouldn't recommend Sludge Wave. I'd say Acid Spray and Hydro Pump. You are going to have key matchups against Azumarill, of course. Very, very dominant matchup there. No other way around it. Skuntank, okay. So it's looking like this is the superior poison type, especially if these things are running Poison Jab. If Muck is running Snarl, maybe that'll flip it. Let's take a look. Battle. Tentacruel. Tentacruel, no. Tentacruel. With Poison Jab, Acid Spray, and let's do Hydro Pump versus Muck, Alolan with, okay, let's start with Snarl with Sludge Wave. Let's see, Tentacruel, okay, it's definitely close once again. And this is with perfect baits, so it's not a surefire win at all. Now, what if this thing is running Poison Jab and Acid Spray? Battle. That is way, way better for Tentacruel. Okay, so you can take a matchup against an Alolan Muck. If the thing has Poison Jab with Snarl, it's going to spam the charge move too fast, and it's not going to be doing resistant damage. So that does flip the matchup. Alolan Raticate, I don't see why you would use this thing. It's super weak to any fighter's counter. Is going to chunk so bad. And also Fairy, so I don't know why it's ranked so high. yeah, I guess it takes less damage from Confusion since it doesn't have that poison subtype, but I don't recommend it. I don't know. Maybe give it a try, whatever. Quick Attack is #1 for fast moves, what? Maybe Bite would be better. I don't know. Don't use that thing. Now, Linoon, Shadow Claw, Grass Knot, Thunder. Super good against Azumarill. Definitely, definitely. Shadow Claw is going to chunk it. Hypno, Frostlass. Yeah, I think Linoon's going to be a player. I'm not going to lie. Munchlax, even though you're going to be doing resisted damage to each other, both are normal types with ghost type fast moves. I guess Grass Knot and Thunder just take the cake for it. And then top counters are going to be, I don't know what these things do, nothing, but really just your average run-of-the-mill counter users like Medicham and Toxicroak are going to be counters for that. And then you want to run Grass Knot and Thunder, not really Dig, even for the super effective poison types. Dig's not a good move. So yeah, Grass Knot Thunder. It's a player, it's a team player. I feel like Glalie is just a worse Frostlass, to be quite honest with you. I'd run Frostlass. They're both pretty glassy, and Ice Shard doesn't charge up as fast, and it has no stab on Shadow Ball. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know the stats for either. They're the stats. I don't know what they mean. They're just numbers. Run Frostlass, probably. Up next, we have Medicham, ranked way lower than Toxicroak. Now, Toxicroak, you just don't want to get that thing up against a Confusion user, please. Yeah, Mud Bomb, if you manage to get off a Mud Bomb against a Bronzong, that's cool. So it has a little bit of fight. That's awesome. So it does beat Toxicroak. That's good to know. Because of Psychic, of course, but it's very, I guess, bait dependent. You want to just land your Psychic, but you don't want it to get shielded. You want to maybe go for some Power-Up Punch baits. But yeah, the moveset you want to run is probably definitely Psychic and Power-Up Punch. Ice Punch, it's a thing, you know, for the flyers and stuff. You're not going to see very many flyers, to be honest with you. But if you don't have an Ice type on your team, then maybe go for Ice Punch. Maybe, but Psychic is just solid, super solid against poison types, especially since Counter and Power-Up Punch are going to be resisted. You want to be able to land a last-ditch Psychic to win a game maybe sometimes. And yeah, run Counter, not Psycho Cut generally. Don't really run Psycho Cut, but if you do run Psycho Cut, don't have Power-Up Punch. That's my recommendation. Do not. Maybe Psycho Cut, Ice Punch, Psychic, or Counter, Power-Up Punch, Psychic. That's my recommendation. And now let's see how it does. Top is countered by all the Charm users, of course, and then all those super hard-hitting ghost types, but you're not going to see many Gengars, and I don't honestly think you're going to see many Haunters. Maybe, though. Maybe. You might, actually. It's a thing. It's definitely a thing. Super dominant against the Lowland Sandslash, with counter being double super effective. Same with Raticate, and then holds its own against the Lowland Muck, of course. Even, let's see how it does when a Lowland Muck has Snarl compared to Poison Jab. So we're going to type in Medicham with counter maybe you could run Dynamic Punch, but I'm going to go counter Power-Up Punch, and let's see how the movesets compare, and Psychic. And then versus Muck Owl with Snarl Dark. Let's try that one. So Dark type moves are going to be neutral. Actually, Poison type moves are going to be neutral too. So it's looking like Thing dies. Yeah, Medicham wins. Super good. Good job. Now let's see how it works out with Poison Jab and Acid Spray, perhaps. Battle. Okay, still wins. Okay, so it's looking like with this moveset, Medicham is definitely a Lowland Muck counter. How does it work with Dynamic Punch? A little worse. It's worse with Dynamic Punch. And the 2 shield, of course. So, yeah. Oh, and keep in mind that Medicham, you want to have his best buddy. I don't know if it flips any matchups, but it's definitely something to have. I don't have one because I'm bad at best buddies, but something to consider. A Lowland Sandslash. Now, with the Steel subtyping, it's going to resist Confusion. So, when it comes to do you want a Lowland Sandslash or do you want Frostlass, it depends on if the rest of your team is generally weaker to Confusion users or counter users. So this thing's going to be super weak to counter, but it's going to resist confusion. It's going to have a key matchup against the dark poisons, and then it's also going to be able to beat Frostlass, which is cool. Oh yeah, it double resists ice with its does it actually, or it single resists? It definitely resists ice one stage more than Frostlass does, whatever that means. And it's going to do well against the flyers, of course. And then, oh, with its steel subtyping, it's also going to resist charm. So definitely this thing is a player for sure. You want to run Powder Snow, Ice Punch, and Bulldoze generally, it's looking like. Gyro Ball, however you say it. Super effective against other ice types, but I'm not actually sure how long it takes to charge up. I think Bulldoze is overall better for the poisons. Yeah, a Lowland Sandslash is looking cool. It's looking good. So the top grass type on this list is Gloom. Great against Azumarill, of course. With Ice Beam, it's going to be able to fight back just a little, but obviously that's a very, very dominant matchup. And it seems to beat all the normal types, which is fun. I guess it's pretty much a good generalist. So if you want to consider a nice, well-rounded Pokemon, yeah, it's going to take forever to charge up to that Sludge Bomb Moonblast with Razor Leaf, but Razor Leaf certainly does chunk. And its top counters are... oh yeah, ice types. It's going to be very, very scared of ice types and then flyers, so it's not great, but if you must use a grass type, it's looking like Gloom's a solid pick. We got regular Muck. Alolan's better overall. I'm going to start going fast. These are just ranked pretty much lower. Alolan Ninetales is key matchup against Toxicroak, but you're really going to want to use a confusion user if you're trying to counter Toxicroak. And then it's generally overall glassy, about as glassy as Frostlass maybe. I'm not sure though, but it does do better than Frostlass in that matchup. It's going to charge up a little bit faster since Psyshock is cheaper than Shadow Ball and Avalanche, and then Ice Beam. I'm not sure how that compares to Avalanche when it comes to how fast it charges up, but I know that Avalanche hits way harder. So there you go. There you have it. Do you want to run Charm on this thing? It's looking like no. Powder Snow's the way to go. There are better Charmers out there. So yeah, that is Alolan Ninetales. Up next, Haunter. Now, Shadow Claw Haunter. Ghost types are not going to be super effective against anything except other ghost types. And of course, Haunter is going to take super effective damage back. And it's also going to be hard countered by all the Lick normal typers. So it's not looking good. Yeah, it has that Sludge Bomb for Azumarill. And it does well against Frostlass, of course, with its ghost type quick move. Weird key matchup against Wigglytuff? No way. Wait. What? Yeah, Charm is resisted with Sludge Bomb, I guess. That's only with Sludge Bomb, but if you run Shadow Punch and so you're gonna, for this cup, want to run Shadow Claw, Shadow Punch, Sludge Bomb. Definitely. That's interesting. Wigglytuff, that's not a dominant matchup at all. I'm sure Wigglytuff can have some fight in it. But if you are running... So you want to land your baits correctly if you want to beat a Wigglytuff. That's really the only way. But Sludge Bomb. There you go. Actually, let's look. If Haunter goes straight Sludge Bomb, Haunter with Shadow Claw and Sludge Bomb, no Shadow Ball, just Sludge Bomb. No punches, no nothing. Let's see how it goes against Wiggly. So, because if you don't land your bait and it goes unshielded, then it's rough. Yeah, Wiggly completely destroys. Haunter, you can shield as many times as you want. This thing will just... Well, no, you can't. This thing's just going to charm you down. So, even if you... Okay, now let's see how Shadow Punch affects things. If you land your baits correctly, it flips the matchup entirely. Okay. So, really, this thing just has to shield once. And it wins. Even if it's a Shadow Punch. Oh, wait. No, never mind. Haunter wins. I'm stupid. So yeah, land your baits correctly, and Haunter has some play against Wigglytuff, I guess. So that's looking like about it for the main players. Scolipede, that's interesting. Poison Jab's gonna do some stuff. It's really just the same. It has bug type moves for the grass types, but grass types aren't huge. Really, I'd recommend just a different poison type like Tentacruel or a Lowland Muck or Skuntank. Golbat's just a worse Noctowl. It's looking like it's going to take super effective damage from Confusion users. Yeah, it can fight back with Shadow Ball. But, oh, it's looking like you want to run Return. That's interesting. But, yeah, no. These are all just worse ice types, worse grass types. And then you got these guys. That's about it. I don't know. Oh, we got Furret going on. Linoon's probably just the way to go. TBH, Quick Attack is not a great move at all. Claydol is interesting. It's going to definitely destroy Toxicroak, but it is taking super effective from ice types, which is not great. Whereas Bronzong would be resisting ice types, so probably Bronzong is in fact the way to go. And yeah, just Venomoth is in here. It definitely takes super effective from Confusion, though it has Confusion itself. It says Bug Bite's the way to go, but that's still Legacy. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know. Definitely use a different Confusion user. And a Lowland Sandslash, that little boy. And that's looking like... That's about it. That's all I wanted to say right here. And all the Pokemon I previously deemed as generalists, they're great safe switches. So you want to lead with something that can either do a lot of damage or just do something good or have fast moves or do good. And then if you lose that lead, then you switch into your safe swap, like Muck, Skuntank, Munchlax, Licky. Interesting how Frostlass is here. Maybe just because it does big damage to really anything. But yeah. And here we have a nice visual representation of basically everything I just said lengthily and messily. Here we have it all summed up into a graphic from GamePress.com. So as you can see, the Confusion users beat the fighters beat the dark types, the Confusion users also beat Azumarill and Wigglytuff, so the fairies, I guess, and then the fairies beat the ice types and the flyers, and then the ice types and the well, not the ice types, but Frostlass and Noctowl beat the fighters, and then they consider ice types, poison types, grass types, and other normal types to be mold breakers. So those are basically just utility mons. You put them in where you have a weakness and you plop them in there. There's a lot of cool words that'll help you learn a lot. Look up this graphic if this is too small to see. You can just Google Sorcerer's Cup, infographic, Game Press, Meta Simplified, anything like that. You'll find a lot of helpful resources out there. There are a bunch of other videos, I'm sure, that will summarize, but these have just been my picks. These are what I think will be good and what I think will be not good, and I hope it was a little educational, if not entertaining, and I will see you guys later. And sorry that these battles were not sped up, but the other ones were. First, I had not enough battle footage, and then I had too much, and now this is just what we are doing. Anyway, more GBL stuff coming to YouTube maybe Friday, but I'm also going to be live on Twitch today at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, and then Thursday, not at 3 p.m. Eastern Time, maybe earlier. I don't know. But stop by there if you want some GBL, but don't worry, YouTube, I'll put a video or something. Anyway, check this out. So I know that I have to just lower the defense and then live. I'll live a power-up punch. Because I wasn't sure if a Dark Pulse would kill or not. I was like, maybe not. So I'm just going to do this. I think I can get to both, and I get to both, and I take the game, and that's pretty cool. So thank you to everyone who practiced with me. Sorcerer's Cup hype. Let's see how this goes, and I will see you a little later. Bye.